Hello everyone, Frank and Darren here again, and we're going to be talking about the all-star comedy of the best and the worst of Halloween Resurrection. Darren and I were just laughing, before we started recording of how silly this movie is. So let's talk about it. The best and the worst, the far worst of Halloween Resurrection. Darren, you just watched this, didn't you? You watched this today, and was it as awful as you remembered?
Well, I haven't watched it since it came out, I don't think. I think it's almost 20 years since I've seen it, because I just thought it was so damn awful then. I watched it again tonight, and yeah, it's not great, is it? It's probably right down at the bottom of the pack somewhere, but it wasn't as bad as what I did find some positives in it. I did find one or two little positives in there, but we'll get to those in a bit.
Yeah, well, do tell. But I remember seeing this in the theater, and everyone, I think it was me, the projectionist, up in the, up in the booth, a couple of friends who were facing the other way, and a couple of rats that even ran out and said, "Why are you seeing this?" I had no idea why. It's because it's Michael Myers and you have to go see it.
Yeah, of course. I don't think it was particularly successful, was it?
No.
But I mean, I think that had it have not been for Jamie Lee Curtis coming back, then I wouldn't have gone to see it myself. In fact, I don't even believe it got a release in the UK. I don't think it did. I think it went straight to VHS. So, but anyway, let's crack on.
Let's do it. Okay, so your best character of this movie.
My best character. And I was just scratching my head throughout this thinking, I mean, I didn't even know any of the characters' names, to be honest. I had to kind of look those up. But my best character is a young chap called Rudy Grimes. And he's the guy that Michael fights in the kitchen. And I only give him a best
the
character
chef,
nod.
the culinary
chef,
art student.
Yeah. I only give him a best character nod because I just thought he was inventive. We've never ever resorted to throwing pepper in Michael Myers' eyes before, I don't think. Like that's gonna, this is a guy who had his eyes shot out or almost shot out or wherever the bullets landed. You really think a couple of pinches of pepper's gonna put him off his stride?
Maybe Michael has an allergy.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if he sneezed?
Or if he started blowing up and his lips came out of that mask really big. He can't see. He's like...
Yeah, so Rudy Grimes, whoever he is my best character in this film. I couldn't choose Jamie Lee Curtis because she just didn't want to be in this film whatsoever, did she? And so She's so dumb in this film, some of the decisions that she makes in this film, that I couldn't choose her.
My best character is the half-eaten rat that Michael had in the basement. No, my best character is Jamie Lee Curtis, just because it's short and, it's just... It had promise that she was going to be in it through the whole movie, but until you saw the whole movie, you realized that she was killed off in the first, 15 minutes or even 20 minutes of the movie.
I don't even think it's that, is it?
But
she just makes stupid decisions.
Yeah, but I can't knock her for the stupid decisions because she's the only thing good about this, and just because it's she's Laurie Strode. That was it. That's the only reason why I picked her as the best character. It's kind of like us picking Loomis for part 5.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Or even part 6. Not even the best character, but you feel good that he was in there. But
best of a bad bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I picked for her. That's why I picked her.
That's fair enough. I actually think there are some positives in that opening sequence, particularly with some of the shots of Michael, which I'll come on to later on. But let's talk about the whole reason why Michael is back in this is because there was some sort of switcheroo in the vineyard back in back in H2O. I mean, is that the best they could come up with?
Probably, unless he, it was kind of like the guy from Men in Black who can regrow a head.
You get that whole introduction scene with the nurses explaining what happened. So the ambulance driver was accosted by Michael. He had his larynx crushed first, so he couldn't speak. Michael and Dave's done videos on this so many times. We're not kind of, stealing his thunder here or anything like that. But Michael must have somehow stripped the guy naked, put on his EMT outfit, dressed the butt naked ambulance driver up in his coveralls, stuck the mask over his head. The really kind of dumb part about this is that Michael walks out of the grounds of the school in the EMT uniform, past all the police and the other ambulance people, with the knife in his hand still.
The only thing that scene was missing was Michael shaving the EMT's mustache. Wouldn't that be great?
He took the dash off beforehand.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous concept, but from what I understand, they had this planned just in case H2O became a success, which it did. So they said, how are we going to bring back Michael? Okay, we'll do the old switcheroo. What does Michael do to get out of places? He switches clothes with people. That's what he does.
Hannibal Lecter did it, I guess. You think they stole that idea from Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, but Michael never wore someone's face.
No, I guess not. But also, I tell you who else, another person did it as well. Did you ever see Leon the Professional?
Yes.
Yeah, he did that as well. He did exactly the same thing. Yeah, then we get the introduction of the film with Laurie in the sanitarium or the psychiatric ward as it is. Thank God they didn't put her in Smith's Grove. It would have been interesting to see everything go full circle there. But yeah, so she's in this psychiatric ward, and you have this clown guy who's kind of dressing up as John Gacy. Yeah. It's just all rather weird,
and he's allowed to roam free, kind of.
Yeah, as you do. But the bit, I mean, I think there's some quite nice shots of Michael as he's wandering the corridors of the psychiatric ward. There's some great shots of the shadow of him there's the blue lighting on the walls, and there's some great shots of all the shadows of him as he walks down the corridors. But then it all goes to shit when he jumps through Laurie's bedroom door. He jumps through the door head first, looking like Bob Ross the painter, because that mask hair is kind of up here somewhere.
Afro.
It's just it all kind of sort of goes downhill from there onwards, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Continuing, who is your worst character in a bucket of worst characters? But who stands out? Who floats on top of your bucket for worst character?
Busta Rhymes, hasn't it?
He's
it
too
can't
easy,
be anybody
go ahead.
else.
Go ahead.
It's the obvious one. Busta Rhymes, terrible. And especially when he starts pulling all that kung fu shit on him as well. Yeah, he's a terrible character, and that sequence where he's got the mask on and he's going face to face with Michael. Why Michael doesn't do anything, I've no idea at all. He just kind of walks off. I'm not having any of this shit, and walks away. But it's a terrible character, and why they let him survive, I've no idea. He has one of my favorite lines and one of my worst lines, which we'll come on to in a bit. Mm-hmm. So there is, I think, at least one redeeming quality to him later on.
My worst character in this movie, that it's a character that doesn't need to be here at all, and that's Miles, the horned up undergrad who just wants to get into the pants of Sarah. Yeah, so
I can't believe you know all these characters' names.
Who's actually probably the beginning of the Me Too movement, just upon his actions. This poor innocent girl, Sarah, who's just looking for some scholarship money to help with her college, is being trusting into this guy, and all of a sudden he says to his friend, Miles says to his friend, "It's kind of like we're dating." That's how stalkers start. And he's actually a character you have no need in this movie. People can argue, oh, he helped her, with the webcamming and everything like that. You don't need it. You just don't need it. They could have worked around that. And they filled him in a different location. Yeah, all his scenes and everything. But Miles, he's a punk. He's a pig. He's a little Harvey Weinstein. And guaranteed. And now there's the deleted scene where he comes and saves her from the fire in the garage. That was unnecessary. And once Sarah finds out that this guy is 18, she's 21, she's going to slap him and probably file a restraining order. So my worst character is the perv Miles, aka Decker. What are you doing, you big perv? Piece of shit.
Okay.
All right, so Darren, now we're getting to your best line of the movie, which you just said was, coming from Busta. So let's hear it.
This is when this is from Busta Rhymes, Freddy, and it's the moment after Michael vanishes after he's been hung out of the window, and he just says to himself, "This is bad." And I just thought, you're not fucking wrong, mate, at all. This is so bad.
Thank you for the truth.
So it really made me laugh when I heard him say that, because he's just absolutely 100% right. This is so bad, this movie. So for that, it's my best line.
My best line is from Freddy as well, from Busta. And it kind of sums up how everyone feels while maybe watching a horror movie or in a scary position in life or any other situation. He says, "Fear is good. Fear is what gives us the feeling of being alive." That's it. That explains.
Is it? Yeah,
that's it. Explains fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So now,
golden nugget of wisdom there from.
It's not a Loomis line. It's not a Loomis line, because he would have said, "You don't know what fear is. It's on two legs and kills unrelentlessly. Stop this." Okay, so your worst line.
My worst line, and I could choose. There's a list of them here.
Oh,
I just kept writing them down, and most of them, well, all of them are coming from Busta Rhymes. So obviously there's the "trick or treat, motherfucker," which is just terrible. There's a bit when he says, when Michael's on fire or whatever, or he's caught in the fire, and he turns around to him, and the only reason I wrote this down was because it reminds me of a song by a band called Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes.
And he turns around and says, "Burn, motherfucker, burn." There's another line that he comes out with a bit later on where he's trying to describe Michael and calls him, and says, and refers to him as, "He's a killer shark in baggy ass overalls." There was a little bit more to that line, but I can't remember what it was. But that was another one. And then there's a bit at the end after Michael's. I think he's on the gurney, isn't he?
Looking a little crispy over there, Mikey. Like some chicken fried, motherfucker.
Even the start of the lines are horrible. You don't have to wait till they finish.
Yeah, they're terrible, aren't they?
It's terrible. Like it's not it's like a bad joke. The setup is horrible, and the punchline, you just don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah.
So, my worst line is, I couldn't pick everything that Freddy said. Busta. I couldn't pick. I could pick everybody. And said everyone here has a terrible line somewhere, but I had to pick a line which nobody has ever said in any of this franchise, in any of the movies, up until 2018's version. There's nothing that compares to this line. And that's Sarah at the end picking up the chainsaw and screaming out to Michael, this is for, and names all the victims as she's going at him. There is nothing here. There is nothing. No one ever says that. No one's on a. There's only one person here that was on a revenge or a crusade, and that was Loomis, and he didn't even say that.
Yeah. She's kind of poking the chainsaw at him on his arm,
Yeah.
isn't she?
This is for Jenny. This is for Billy. This is. And Michael's like, oh, shit, is she going to go all the way back to fucking Annie? This is for Judith. What the fuck?
And the dogs.
This is for Lester. I can't fucking take that. That was the most horrible line and probably a horrible moment I've ever seen. Nobody's ever done that to Michael. Named off the victims and started coming at him. No, sorry.
I think the only person that's ever done that I can remember was, I think there was a Lethal Weapon film where Mel Gibson ran around shooting.
Correct.
Yeah.
He just said the last names.
Yeah.
And that was it. But that worked for that movie.
Yeah.
Not for this one. So now, after I completed that mess and saying all that bullshit, what is your best kill, or who is your best kill?
I think my best kill in this, I had to Google it to find out what it was he was doing, but it's one of the first ones, and it's the guy in the house.
Charlie?
Mike. I can't remember what his name was. Michael was walking towards him, and at first I thought he had like a harpoon or something.
With the tripod, yeah, Charlie.
It's
that's Charlie.
Tripod, isn't it? Yeah. I had to look that up online to find out what it was, but it was a tripod, wasn't it? And the way he just kind of slowly pushes it through his throat and out the other side. So yeah, I thought that was quite an inventive little kill. I mean, we're at the stage now, whereas we're appreciating inventive little kills because we don't care about any of these characters, and so yes, that would have been my best kill.
We don't even care about Michael.
Huh? You don't get it? You don't get it?
Mine is Billy, who is the kid who's always trying to go after the blonde girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Where he gets the knife on top of the head.
Ooh, yeah, that's a nasty one, is that?
I like that. That's my favorite. And there's nothing really much to it. It's just he gets, slit across the throat, and then just to add a little bit of cherry on top of the cake, he just shoved the knife right through the top of his head. One thing this movie did have is a few pretty good kills, but unfortunately, the director Rosenthal, he kind of brought back some of the kills from part 2 or mimicked them in some way, which I didn't like too much. But hey, you work with what you know. So now your worst kill.
For me, it's Laurie. Again, she was contractually obliged to be in this film. I would have preferred to have had her come in at the end, and rather than at the beginning. So she was in the movie for the last 15 minutes rather than the first 15 minutes, because it doesn't add anything to the plot whatsoever. It's like we kill Laurie and then that's it. We start the film and there's no reference to her or anything like that from then onwards. So I would have preferred it if she came in the last 15 minutes and helped to kill Myers. And incidentally, the scene that's deleted where they ram the axe into his face on the gurney, I think should have been the actual ending to this movie rather than his eyes opening up in the hospital. Because I think at this point we got to the stage where we were like, yeah, this is over and done with now. We're flogging a dead horse. It's not worth carrying on with shite like this anymore. We may as well just stop it. So I think Laurie's death is possibly the worst kill for me. I mean, it's such a dumb decision that she does. She has Michael. She's got him there. And then, she's talking to herself. I just got to make sure. And she tries to pull that mask off, and that's it. That's the end of it. That's her demise.
Should have killed one guy. Why not kill another? Who cares if it's Michael?
Exactly. So Laurie. How about you?
My worst kill is Nora.
Mm-hmm.
And because we just don't see it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Sarah goes running back into the garage, and there she is hanging. with some blood that mimics Nurse Alvis.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of blood being drained. It's just
and she slips on it like Jimmy as well, doesn't she?
Yes. Like I said before, Rick Rosenthal and goes back to what he knows. Yeah, it's my works to kill. It's just it leaves a bad taste in your mouth and less to be desired. So yeah, and she probably didn't want to get blood all over her anyway. So she said, "Can you just hang me? I don't want to ruin these clothes. I got to record the next top model after this." Okay, now
Tyra Banks.
your best moment, and you can't say the end credits.
My best moment, actually, that I like I said at the start, I did find a few positives in it. They're really few and far between, but my best moment is there is one shot of Michael at the very start of the movie when he's walking towards the clown guy, the Gacy guy, outside the sanitarium or the psychiatric ward or whatever it is, and he's kind of walking down like a slope with trees behind him, and the lighting on him is superb, and he actually looks like the OG Shape as he's walking forward. They just got everything right about it. It's like they put a lot of effort into this one shot and then just like didn't bother with the rest of the film. And it's literally like a 4-second shot, if that. And I just thought, wow, when it first started this afternoon when I watched it, I just thought, that's actually a really cool shot.
Okay. Now, my best moment is Laurie's death, because after a while, you're just like, oh, finally she died. My problem is that Laurie can't be as superhuman as Michael and survive everything. You can't. She can't just be as invincible, or even 1/10 of his strength. Can't. Of course, she has one of the worst lines. See you in hell and everything like that. It's just it's ridiculous. Laurie Strode of 78 and even 81 would not have said that ever.
And why would she be going to hell?
Yeah, why would she go to hell? And then when we always say this, when we have HD coming out, and even in 720 and 1080. That drop that she falls, well, she ultimately dies from being stabbed in the back. We know this. But she was going to kill Michael by dropping him on his head. It looks like she only fell 3 feet.
Yeah. It's not a bad shot, though. I don't know whether it was a CG thing or whether she was on a wire or whether it's somebody else and they've, mapped someone else's head over her. I wouldn't have thought so. And she's 20 years old. They probably just dropped her onto a green mat or something. It looks okay. It doesn't look too bad.
Sure.
I did. Yeah.
No, but she falls through these pine trees, right? These evergreens or what have you. And you make believe that at first it looks like she disappears from a 100-foot drop cliff or something into some kind of inside of the Pacific Ocean. But once the slow motion stops and Michael starts climbing up, you can see her on the bottom.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Like I said, 3-foot drop. And she was supposed to kill Michael like that? A guy who's been burned alive, shot in the face. Come on. Ridiculous. But that's my best moment, was her dying and just saying, thank God we don't have to see her anymore. But guess what? We do.
I still stand by my theory that, she should have come in at the end rather than the beginning. I know she probably wanted to be killed off so she didn't have to do any more of these films. But, if she's going to be in the movie, let her have a purpose for being in the movie.
Yes.
And I think it would have been good if she'd have turned up at the end and helped the kids. Either seen it on the internet, realized what was going on, and then gone there to help the kids. And killed Michael that way. And then that's it. You can end it like that. And then you go on to your Rob Zombie films. But there were 2 other moments that I thought that were...
She adopts all of them.
Or one of them. 2. What, Busta Rhymes? That's...
She adopts Busta Rhymes. Oh, Jesus.
There's a bit where there's a sit-up as well, and that's at the end, the closing moments at the end when the building's on fire and Michael kind of sits up. And I thought he did a good job with that setup. It was kind of in tune with how Nick Castle did his.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? I thought that was quite a nice touch. But yeah, we're really clutching at straws here to find positives in this.
We're digging in shit, hoping to hit gold.
Yeah, we are. And I think it does go to show that Carpenter, I know he wrote Halloween 2, and I know that he was on set a lot of the time because he was doing reshoots and also additional footage for Halloween 1. I think he had more input or more influence on Halloween 2 than we give him credit for.
Spielberg Poltergeist.
Yeah. I'm not sure Rick Rosenthal's up for the job at all. I think he has a cameo in this as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, the professor.
Yeah. But no, all in all, it's a really poor entry in the franchise, and probably I would say it's not quite the bottom of the pack, but almost.
Yeah, it's a tie for last. But we'll get to the other ones soon enough. But really quick, what do you think of the mask?
I don't know. He's kind of. I'm just looking at it in the bottom corner now. It's kind of halfway towards looking like drag, isn't it?
It's Ben Stiller in Zoolander, isn't it?
And he's got heavy eye makeup on as well. I much prefer the kind of the blacked out eyes rather than the eye makeup.
He looks like he has an unibrow. He's because I mean, even if you look behind me, this is part 2. He doesn't have that scowl, that pissed off, like you said, Carol Burnett look. And he also doesn't emphasize down in the wrinkles.
He's a bit horsey looking, isn't he?
Yeah. And
it could be the Queen, even the bottom part of it. I just commit treason. He looks like he's pouting a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kind of,
clownish.
Yeah. It's not a good look, is it?
It's Studio 54, Michael. But at least they kept this most of the way, because remember in our last one, they kept changing between the stunt one and the close-up one and the CGI one and the alien one and the H6 one. I mean, there was at least this mask was consistent.
Yeah. We can give it that at least. We can give it that.
All right, Darren, I can't go on anymore. I can't go on with this movie. But final thoughts, this movie, when I saw it, as a kid, I was okay with it. And then you, like we always been saying, you grow up and then you realize how stupid you were back then. It's not a good entry. It's probably the most... I know one person who this is their top 5.
Wow.
Yeah. But for most people, it's some people put it in their mid of their franchise ranking. I know you and I put it at the bottom, way bottom.
Yeah. Oh, it's right down there with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I think, for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's the part where Michael walks away from being yelled at. That's what did it for a lot of people, I believe.
Get out, scoop! Skedaddle! Get the fuck out of Dodge!
Well, that's it. We can't go on any further about Resurrection. We shall not.
But what we are going to do is we're going to thank everybody again who's started to follow us. Again, the numbers are growing. We're really motoring now towards a really decent sized audience. We're getting great views on these Halloween videos that we've been doing. And, as Frank said in the last episode, if you have any ideas as to what sort of content you'd like to see us talk about, then we'd be happy to hear that. We've got some ideas about what we're going to do next after we finish this kind of Halloween franchise season, but we welcome any input, so feel free to drop us a note. We have a Twitter account. Everything's across the top there at Slaughtered The. We've got a Facebook account, the Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. You need to kind of request entry to the page and just do that, and we'll let you in. And we also have a Instagram account, the Slaughtered Lamb Podcast, and an email address, which will be coming up at the end of the show, which is tslmoviepodcast@gmail.com. So feel free to reach out to us and, put some suggestions across. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please ding the thing under Frank, just there. There we go. And we will speak to you soon.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time. But as always, stick to the roads.
And the best of luck.
Hey, Mikey! Happy fucking Halloween!